Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is on my planner evolution. I'm just gonna move this stack. So I fully anticipate that this is going to be a lengthy video, so I grabbed my Starbucks and I am ready to get started. So first I want to start by saying that I've been planning for a very long time. So I remember going to Barnes & Noble's when I was in junior high school even, and trying to get like the best, cutest, ring-bound planner. I used to love the tiniest little planners so that I can get cute inserts from a Japanese stationery store that was near our home, and getting a planner was always my favorite thing. And it was always very nerve-wracking to me because I knew that I had to pick the right planner because I was only going to have one shot. This was pre-Amazon time for me to be able to get the one planner that I'm going to be using for the entire year. So it took me a long time to figure out which one I wanted. I would obsess over it, and then I would finally pick out the one that I wanted, and then that would be my planner for the rest of the year. I stumbled into the modern planner community around 2015, and it was the summer of 2015, and I have this sneaking suspicion that I stumbled upon the planner community in a similar manner than other people, and that was through Elle Flower. She was a pretty massive YouTuber at the time, and she's still on YouTube. I was watching makeup tutorials, and one day she did a review of her Erin Condren. So I loved it. I was like, oh my god, there's like this whole community out there with people playing with planners and their stickers, and there's this thing called an Erin Condren, and I love it. I love the setup of it. And I thought about different ways to break up the 3 different sections in it. So I was obsessed with it. My husband right away was like on board with it. I ordered it. I actually was not at home. I was away for the summer in 2015, so I ordered it to my hotel room, and I was just all ready to get started. And I also purchased some stickers. So my very first recent planner was this Erin Condren Life Planner. So the Erin Condren Life Planner started like my kind of pretty planning. So I got the pretty conventional 18-month planner at that time, and I got it in August of 2015, and probably I guess a few weeks later, yep, right around mid-August, that's when I started planning. So that's when I bought stickers, and I was all excited, and I wrote out things that I wanted to do, and then I carried on in this planner, planning in a fairly well, it was definitely planning decoratively, but I also really liked white space at this point. I really did not like this kind of no white space situation. I love this spread. And I had a lot of fun with this planner, and I stuck with it for a rather long time. So I do remember, let's see, going into December and then continuing on. I went into January, and in January is when I changed over from my Erin Condren to a ring-bound planner. So my evolution was as follows. So I had the 3 sections that I really liked, but I needed more space. So I started looking around for other places where I could potentially get more space. So my first solution was just to add an adjunct. So this is an Inkwell Press horizontal planner. So the first thing that I did was I purchased one of these guys in order to augment my space. So what I did was I bought this, and I was using it as an extra list area. So over here there was like housework, YouTube, online shop, different things that I wanted to do, and I would use this to plan out longer lists that I didn't have room for in my Erin Condren. So this was kind of a stopgap for a little while. It was just what I was using to augment the system. But I really did not like having 2 planners at the time. So by the time the beginning of 2016 came along, I tried 2 planners, and it was just too cumbersome to carry 2 of them around. The next logical step was to get a ring-bound planner. I moved to this A5 Kiki K ring bound planner. This is in the lilac color. I know I had to search around for it on eBay and it was very exciting when I got my hands on it. At this point, the Inkwell Press inserts only came in horizontal, but I really enjoyed the weight of those pages, and I also enjoyed the monthly overview. So in here I have the Inkwell Press monthlies, but then I have the So Much Crafting inserts following that. So here is the year overview from So Much Crafting, and then I went into, I had some long-term planning. This is really why I kept the Inkwell Press at this point, because I liked their monthly overview and their mission board, and then I had the monthly overview, and then after that I would insert these So Much Crafting inserts. And at this point I was really using a good amount of stickers. I was still doing white space planning, so basically I was taking the same structure that I had in my Erin Condren and putting it in here. But as you can see, my weekends were getting packed pretty quickly. So as time went on, I was realizing that a joint weekend wasn't working out for me. But I ended up using this all the way through until May, I believe. Yep. So May is when I stopped using this. During May, I actually went back to my Erin Condren planner just for a few months. So I was there from May through September. So throughout the summer, I went back into my Erin Condren, and the only change that I made was that I was using a little bit more stickers than I was in the past. So around the August time frame of 2016 is when I started with my bullet journal system, and I started pretty conventionally with this future log at the very beginning, and then I went in and drew out my first month, and you can see I didn't really use it all that much. And then here I had separate pages for my workouts. I used a horizontal layout and I split it up by to-dos and daily tasks. I had several different types of spreads as I was bullet journaling throughout the summer and into the holiday season. Right around Thanksgiving time, I started to think about what I would want for the next calendar year, and I started considering the Hobonichi, which is why I started setting up some spreads that would mimic that spread to see if it would work for me. So I really liked being able to do that. I started missing both my stickers and kind of my planning style again of the Erin Condren. I think it's possibly just because that's really when I hopped back into the planner community. That's where I started. I always kind of gravitate back towards some of those planning styles. So I was doing those kinds of things here, and then that carried on to the end of the year, and then I started using this more as a general notebook. After 2017 was over, so I spent a few months in this bullet journal from August of 2016 all the way out through December of 2016. But when the new year came around, I did grab a new planner. For 2017, I started with a Hobonichi Techo Cousin, which is the A5 size. I got these leather tabs from Mochi Things, and I really enjoyed it. And I stuck with this planner from January of 2017 to right around May or June. So I see a pretty consistent pattern that right around the summertime is when I seem to get a little bit antsy in my planner system, and that's when I'm likely to change. So here I started in 2017 in January, and I was using the weekly pages. I was getting a little bit creative, so just a few little stickers here and there. I did, again, I played with some time tracking here, and then I played with some decorations. I noticed that I start gravitating toward trying to force a planner system to work in a different format when I start to get uncomfortable. So here in May, you can see that I'm starting to say, well, I need more color, I need more stickers, I need a little bit more space to kind of spread out. And I was also using the daily pages for my daily notes, but I also felt like I was wasting some of the pages because I wasn't writing in them every day and I wasn't consistently keeping my lists. The other thing was that I was finding that this was very good at work. I can open it up, but I was flipping back and forth from the week to the daily. And in the daily, since I had both home and work tasks, I was less likely to open this up back at home because it wasn't as pretty. It was a little bit more functional having these big blank pages. So I would have work stuff over here and then I would put home stuff over here. But since I was trying to get away from work when I got home, I was less likely to open this. This became very much like a work planner. And so some of my home things were getting neglected or falling through the cracks. So right around May, as I was getting kind of like the itch to start something new, I decided, well, I really like that the Hobonichi has the yearly overview, the weekly, the monthly, and the daily pages. Well, can I make something like this myself? Which is when I decided to go into the Happy Planner in May of 2017. In May of 2017, I jumped right in like with full force. I bought the really large rings here because I knew I wanted to have yearly, monthly, weekly, and daily overviews. So I purchased all of those refills. I got rings in lots of different sizes. I used this big one just so that I can try out having both my monthly and my weeklies. So at the very beginning here, I had a brain dump section and then I had the monthlies, followed by the weeklies, and this kind of looks like my very first planner system. So here we're in May of 2017, but it looks like how I was planning back in May of 2015. I only lasted a week because again, I was like, well, I don't have enough room to write the things that I want to write. So in the back, I had a notes section where I was writing notes. And I also had this daily section where I was writing daily what I was doing and then, or my tasks and my agenda. And then I would pull this out at the end of the day and throw it out and not keep it. So it was an okay system, but I found that I was like doing lots of moving back and forth and these rings were kind of cumbersome and I never really, just even after having it for 1 week, I just decided this is probably not going to work for me. So in comes the Traveler's Notebook. So in June or July, I remember it was for right around my birthday time, I ordered my first Foxy Fix, and this was in the B6 size, and I tried out all the different sizes. In May and June, I bought notebooks that were all of the paper sizes that corresponded to the Traveler's Notebook covers for Foxy Fix, and I actually made a video on that. I will link it down below. I ended up mimicking the same system that the Hobonichi has. I ended up having a year at a glance that I made for myself, as well as a year with the small squares, which is reminiscent of what I wanted in 2016, but I didn't use. But I ended up using this fairly frequently. Then I had a 6-month overview, and then I had a monthly overview. And that started in the summer of 2017. This insert goes until summer of 2018, which we're clearly not there yet, and I'm not necessarily using this insert. Spoiler alert. So here's the yearly and monthly, and then I had my weeklies, which I ended up making because I didn't really like having this system right here of tracking on the weekly page. I ended up covering those most weeks. So when I made my own inserts, I just made them so that they went straight down. I had the weekends going across the bottom. Again, I felt like this was too cramped, so I ended up changing that style a little bit later. But I had yearly, monthly, weekly, and I also had a daily insert. And my daily insert for 2017, I actually just threw out. The daily insert was very functional, so I used it to write notes and to map out my day in terms of time blocking, and then I threw it out because I knew that I wasn't going to keep it for like a long-term record. So this ended up working out for me for a few months. I actually bought additional Traveler's Notebook covers. In the coming weeks, I'm going to do a Traveler's Notebook collection review. I really did enjoy the functionality and flexibility, and this took me into January of 2018. Now in January of 2018, I had a major shift in my thinking about planning. So mostly it was because over the past year in 2017, I was keeping up with all my work tasks, but falling behind on my household tasks. I had to keep track of more things around the house. So I ended up splitting and having one traveler's notebook for home and one traveler's notebook for work. So here are my two, this is a traveler's notebook cover. This is just a regular notebook cover because what I ended up doing was I have a bullet journal system that I use at work, which I've reviewed in this channel. I'll link my most recent work bullet journal update down below. But I've separated it so I have a bullet journal just dedicated to work. I only open this at work, and I have it around every now and then at home if I need to reference it for something, but this is pretty much the workhorse all day at work. But I also keep my personal bullet journal open at work. So here I have, I do my time blocking here in my Hobonichi Cousin. This is the avec version, so it is much thinner than the entire Cousin. This is the avec. So I can have it at the very beginning of my traveler's notebook cover. And then I have an insert. This hasn't been filled in yet because this is my most recent insert, which I will be filling in this weekend. But it's a half letter size, so I just print out the inserts on a regular letter size piece of paper, and then I fold it in half. And this has regular columns so that I can get my sticker fix in, and this will probably end up looking like the white space planning that I've done for the past few years. And then I am back to the bullet journal system, but this bullet journal is just for personal matters, so it fills up a lot less quickly. So I feel like I only have a few pages here, a few collections, so this bullet journal will probably last me a very long time. That is a contrast to this work bullet journal where I'm halfway done with it already, and we are in May, so I anticipate that by the end of the year I will be into a new work bullet journal. So with that, I have reviewed all the planner systems that I have used from about August of 2015 through right now. We're in May of 2018. So across the 3 years, I have done most of the popular planning systems. I've done both the Erin Condren and the Inkwell Press coil bound system. I've also done the ring bound system. I've done the Happy Planner disc bound system. I've done book bound things, both with this overall bullet journal and the work bullet journal that I have going on these days. I've done the Hobonichi Techo Cousin. I've done the Hobonichi Techo Avec. I've also done traveler's notebooks with my own inserts and with other people's inserts. And it's just a continuous evolution. Sometimes I go back and forth on whether or not I really need to commit to one system, because I do have a pretty hefty planner collection going on right now. But I also like that I don't stress in the same way that I used to back when I was in high school or in junior high school, where I have to really commit to a system and then that's it. If it doesn't work out for me, then I'm just not going to have a planner for that year until January rolls around or until the summer rolls around, and then I can get a school or academic year-based calendar. So I like the flexibility. In some ways it could be debilitating because I have so many options and I am able to change my mind, but overall it looks like I change my mind about 2, maybe 3 times a year. It seems to come around the summer period, so I'm probably due for a change here, and I do kind of see myself transitioning more into a different planner system as we move forward. But I've had a great time both being part of this community and also just getting to explore different options for organization. That's it for today, guys. Until next time, I hope this video brought you some utility and joy. Are they seriously mowing the lawn outside? Ah!